Oh, my joint.
One gun, one clip, one
Shot, one slug. Niggas to disfigure your mug. Not 5, not 4, not 3, not 2, just... Yeah, he's on mic like Nas. Red Bull, y'all niggas can't handle the guard. Sean Price who dismantled your squad. He was a group, not B. Anyway, listen, let me talk about Sean Price for a moment. RIP to Sean Price, man. Yeah, I think Sean Price was dope as fuck. Obviously, I mean, you know, talent speaks for itself. So, yeah, you're never going to see me shit on Sean Price. You know, this is the thing. Like, it's funny to me because as a longtime hip-hop listener, people try to bundle. It's like, you ever get a bag of oranges or some shit from the grocery store and, like, one orange, like, it's like it comes in a bundle. So, like, one orange is amazing and the rest are trash. And that's kind of how it is sometimes with hip-hop. You know, like, people love to bundle, especially, like, underground hip-hop heads. They're like, yo, I listen to all the real shit, blah, blah. I listen to Sean Price, you know, insert whatever, random rapper, Griselda, blah, blah. Nah. Those are the bad oranges. Them oranges are trash, okay? I listen to the real shit, okay? The really dope stuff, okay? And Sean Price was that dude. In fact, Sean Price was arguably the last great boom bap rapper, honestly. If I have to really sit and think about the shit. You know what I mean? Like, he single-handedly held down underground boom bap in the mid-2000s because it was looking really fucking weak out here, man. Really weak. I think the first track I ever heard from Sean Price was Boom Baye, around the time when it came out. And it was just like, whoa. I didn't even realize it was Ruck. Ruck? Yeah. From Helter Skelter. I didn't even realize that shit at first. I was like, whoa, who the fuck? And then someone told me it was Ruck, and I was like, oh, from back then? And, yeah, man, you know, Sean Price was that guy. You know, Peep My Words. What's the other one where he's like, I don't think it's Onion Head. But there's so much love in my heart. That one. I love that record. Yo, Sean Price was that dude for real, man. And, you know, it's interesting because, you know, again, I always, like, the trolls in the comment section always make me laugh because they're always like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah. And it's just funny to me because even in my short time being in New York, I mean, I met, you know, Rockness Monster from boot camp like 3-4 times just being in Brooklyn, like, because that's just how it is. Again, that's why I say some of you trolls, I know you guys are not black, you guys haven't been to New York, so it's like, the fuck you talking about? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, look, I'm not from New York, I'm not a New York dude, but at the same time, when I'm talking about this hip hop shit, I'm talking about it based on shit that I've, you know, at least listened to, and I've taken the time to listen and honestly kind of critique and think about. And also because I've lived in New York and I have family out there, and I've always had family in New York. So I've been to New York, you know what I mean? And you go out in certain spots. When you're outside, you see certain shit, and it just is like, oh, okay, that makes sense. This is why this is dope, and this is why this is whack, right? And Rockness is a cool cat, man. He's like one of them cats, like, I'm trying to remember the spot where I met him at a number of times, but he would always come through. It was like Myrtle and, what's the name? Washington and Myrtle. That intersection, you know what I mean? So, because I used to live right off Washington. And, yeah, you know, and I was just always like, yo, listen, man, like, you know, you guys, you know, understand, influenced me and all that shit. And, you know, he was a cool dude, you know, and I didn't dick ride and take up all his time. It was just a quick, you know, kind of like, you know, one love kind of thing, and kept it moving. So the point is that I've been a BCC head for a hot minute. You know, I was onto BCC back in like the late 90s because, again, that's kind of when I started really listening to this rap shit. And I remember, you know, hearing The Shining and stuff like that. And that just blew me away. So I was like, okay, I got to check out whatever these guys are dropping. And Sean Price kind of obviously brought them back in a major way, you know. So I have to give props to Sean Price, man, because he was ill for real. You know, he's the guy that actually in a weird way put on Rock Marciano and Rock Marciano talks about this in like some interview where he's like, you know, again, Sean Price, someone respected, gave him the cosign to Rock. But Rock Marciano to me is trash. There's a difference. You see what I'm saying? Like, Rock Marciano makes that sleepy music. You know what I'm saying? That, like, ain't got no energy to it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't really saying nothing. Whereas Sean Price has got more, you know, just more energy. It's just more gutter. It's more interesting. It's more creative. You know what I mean? So, for a hot minute, man, he was the only dude really doing anything that was boom bap, and coming out with consistently quality songs and albums. So R.I.P. to the guy, man. I would say the best Sean Price records. One is my favorite, period. That's like my favorite Sean Price joint. But he has a lot of great songs. You know, he's got One, Figure Four, Director's Cut, King Kong, Stop, You Better Stop. That's dope. Peep My Words. The one with Ninth Wonder, that I sang, that I really liked a lot. You know, for whatever reason, the title isn't coming to me. But those are sort of like the joints I like. I think that as Sean Price started to go along, like into like 2008, 2009, he started losing me a little bit with his production more, because, you know, he could still rhyme, but he started to kind of, you know, I didn't really like the beats that he was working with, and so I kind of stopped listening. I mean, I would check out every now and then, obviously, you know, a verse, but you know, he kind of lost me in the, you know, late 2000s. But overall, for, you know, superb rapper. He, to me, is an interesting combination of, like, I know he's a big Ghost fan. I read that interview, and I can tell, because, you know, even just One, Ghostface has a song called One, that energy's there. But to me, he was like the street MF Doom. And MF Doom, you know, obviously is a street dude and has street sort of elements to him as well. But to me, like, it was like the Brownsville MF Doom. Just the way, like, Sean Price would do that tongue twister shit. I like that a lot. So, you know, Sean Price was that dude, man. So, R.I.P. to the guy. If you got any favorite Sean Price records that I haven't heard or whatever, or you feel like, you know, deserve a mention, feel free to put them in the comments. I'm going to move on. The next topic I want to talk about is Melle Mel. So, Melle Mel is on Vlad, right? And I'm really enjoying the interview so far because, again, Melle Mel is an interesting cat in general, and I always like his interviews. He tells it as it is, and I appreciate that. Again, I don't always have to agree, but that's the point. In hip-hop, you're supposed to appreciate people just keeping it 100. That's the whole point, right? So when people get mad at someone keeping it 100, it's like, do you even listen to this genre? What the fuck? So the point is that one thing I noticed about the Melle Mel interviews in the comment section is that people are really getting at him, man. Like, some trolls obviously are getting at him, saying, you know, his teeth and the fact that and, you know, the fact that he got knocked out. Yo, this is the thing I find, man. Like, the internet, keep trolling, my dudes. You know what I'm saying? If you one of these trolls, keep doing your thing. You know what I mean? Like, look, listen, I get it. I think it's funny because when I look at it, I'm like, look, listen, if y'all gonna diss Melle Mel, like a guy who's a fucking pioneer that invented this rap shit, and you might as well just say that he's like basically one of the, you know, key inventors of this entire hip hop shit. If you're gonna go at him and call him a bum and all this kind of shit, and he's a hater and his teeth are fucked up and all that kind of shit, you'll diss anybody. So what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, you can't get mad. I mean, I never get mad when these trolls say what they say. You know what I mean? Sometimes I engage them and I just, you know, fucking move on to the next thing. You know what I'm saying? And they'll still be there, I'm sure, like typing away. But, you know, that's what trolls do. But it is crazy to me how people can just fix their mouth and hide on the internet. Like, I never understood that shit. You know what I mean? Like, I show my face so you know who the fuck is talking. Now, I understand, like, not everybody has to put their face out on the internet like that. I get that. But how are you talking spicy and reckless on the fucking internet? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, just because you can hide behind a keyboard? Like, what? Like, I would never do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, people know me. I'm not a fighter like that. But again, I guess coming from where I've come from, you know what I'm saying? I've gotten in fights and shit like that. So I learned early that, like, if you're going to say some shit, be a fucking man. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? If you got a problem, you go handle it. You deal with it one-on-one. I don't sneak diss and hide from the fucking bushes and or the computer screen and shit. Like, that shit's weird to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I look at that as a cornball, you know, behavior. Like, again, you can be anonymous on the internet. That's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But the moment you start trying to attack someone personally on some, like, yo, like, you whack, you ugly, your family's fucked up, or, you know, just trying to get at them personally, but you're hiding behind the fucking keyboard? Like, wow. Anyway, the point is, don't listen to these niggas, man. Like, you know, or I wouldn't even say niggas. Again, I always think that these guys often are trolls of a different race. Many of them, you know, just want to get their rocks off and shit like that. So my thing is, if you have your hip hop opinion and you feel that way and you've, you know, taking the time out to read and research or whatever. And don't be afraid of expressing your opinion because of what some troll might say. Fuck a troll, man. You know what I'm saying? Give them a little attention sometimes, water that plant maybe, but in general, trolls are not to be fed. Now, in terms of Melle Mel, what I like about Melle Mel, and you can check out more Melle Mel interviews on The Foundation, which I highly recommend. The Foundation, I think the guy's name is JayQuan or something like that. I love his channel. So these are the things I watch that make me learn a lot about hip hop in general, right? And see where the connections are. Like The Foundation is a fantastic channel. I always recommend it. I watch Doggy Diamonds and The Foundation. Like, there's certain people where I'm like, I know they're gonna give me quality interviews and they're gonna talk some hip hop shit, right? So if you ever get a chance, there's Melle Mel interview on there that's really comprehensive and interesting, and he kind of goes into the background of like, him and hip hop and his thoughts. And Melle Mel for a long time has said this one thing that always stuck with me, but he's always sort of said that Run DMC kind of ruined rap, and he gives his reasons, and I actually agree with Melle Mel in a lot of ways about that. I was never a Run DMC guy like that, to be honest with you. They're before my time. I respect what they put down. I think what they put down was interesting. I think their look was phenomenal, right? I mean, you see pictures of them from back then, and you're just like, yo, that shit look cool as fuck. So I can only imagine what it felt like for people in the early to mid 80s when they saw that shit. And musically, of course, with Larry Smith, they did some really interesting things. So I respect all that Run DMC put down, for sure. But I do think that Melle Mel has a point about how like hip hop has regressed, because it's become very focused on like the street dude, right? And he's absolutely right on that. With that said, I think Melle Mel is also forgetting that at the end of the day, Run DMC, I think, made hip hop more personable in a way, right? Like they made it a little bit more relatable, right? And I think that's something that Melle Mel doesn't quite talk about. Because let me give a perfect example. Yes, Melle Mel's like, look, listen, when we wore the leather feathers and all that shit, trying to look like Parliament and be stars and compete in those spaces, because those are people we were touring with, we were trying to show hip hop as, like star shit. Like he was like trying to, be high on coke like Billy Idol and shit like that. Those are people that he looked up to. But the thing is, for the people in the street, or not just in the hood, like just people in general, right? Black folk, like, what we relate to the things that are in our surroundings in general, right? And we want to see things as we sort of, witness them. So I think that Run DMC coming out with that, like, yo, I look like the drug dealer, the guy getting money that's right in your face. I think that's really interesting and does make the art form more relatable, because at the end of the day, art has to be relatable. I think that once you start trying to go too far off into the clouds and you don't make it relatable to the people that need it the most, I think you are losing an element of what makes art powerful. So yes, Run DMC did kind of water down hip hop in a way by being street, quote unquote, but at the same time, they did give it an energy and a fuel that made hip hop even more interesting, right? And made it more personal and made it more sort of like, gave it more urgency, right? So, I mean, look, listen, at the end of the day, the best rappers to ever do this all have sort of a streetish feel to them anyway, right? So, I do think that Melle Mel's observation obviously is accurate, and he's a smart guy and he's a pioneer, so he's, that's his perspective. And I like to hear the perspectives of pioneers, even if I don't necessarily agree, but it's a very important perspective to hear. That's why I don't like the fact that they're not doing more interviews on bigger platforms. I don't see why they have to go to fucking Vlad just to be heard. Like, that's crazy to me. You know what I mean? Like, Melle Mel and Grandmaster Caz and these guys should be getting interviews on Hot 97, Breakfast Club every 2-3 years at least, or some shit. Just, on some like, hey, pioneer, like, what's up? Like, what's your take on the game? And being honest. But of course, that's not what the business is about. So why am I even going there? All right, y'all. It's a pleasure, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. Peace.